I mean, I felt so many things, and I felt hate at some point. I felt hate towards Elizabeth Leatherman. It's just so unfair. We see a trial in the movie that wasn't professionally done. It was obvious that all the DNA tests that they did, all the statements, all the scratches on the ladies' bodies and everything, it was quite obvious that none of those tests and every other evidences that they were able to garner suits the descriptions of these boys or even suits these boys themselves. But because the system was just looking for a scapegoat, and because they were just so racist against the black man, against the colored people, they were just looking for someone to vent all of those anger and frustrations on, and then they took it out on these 5 innocent young boys. How cruel can that be? Seriously, guys, after watching that movie, I was forced to go on Google and conduct my own research on the case. And I found out so many things. I found out that, the US and the city of New York, they made it so easy for themselves by just settling these boys with 41 million US dollars. I mean, what is 41 million US dollars, split into 5 ways? What is it compared to life that has been wasted behind bars? What is it compared to dreams that have been dashed to the winds? What is it compared to one's self-esteem? What is it compared to one's mental health that has been damaged from the trauma? I mean, if you look at the last episode of that movie on Netflix, you will see that Wise suffered the most. He was just a young boy of 16 who didn't even know how to write, who didn't even know how to express himself verbally. And then he was forced into creating graphic images of a crime that he wasn't even present at, or of a crime that he did not even commit. And then when he was in jail, he was tortured so badly, and he even suffered the most. I think he spent up to about 14 years, double the time that the other boys spent in jail. All because of what? Because he is black, because he's a man, and because he was only trying to look out for his friend Yusuf Salam. I cried when I watched the final episode because I felt all the pain, I felt all the agony that Wise was feeling. And then I started asking myself that, how is the real life Wise trying to cope? I mean, there's no mincing words that all of these 5 men to date will be going through post-traumatic stress. Because number one, the fact that you were wrongfully accused of a crime that you weren't even present at, of a crime that you didn't even commit, it's enough for someone to lose their sanity forever. And I want to give a huge thumbs up to Ava Duverney for having the courage, for having the bravery to come up with such an amazing movie, for putting out there and changing the narrative of these 5 young men, because really their story deserves to be heard by the world. And I am also using this opportunity to say out loud that everybody should go onto Twitter, use whatever social media platform that you have access to, that you are active on, to vie for the move that Elizabeth Letterman should face the law. She should face the law. All the police officers who were in charge of that case at that point should face the law. Whatever they have achieved in this life, I feel like they should also do time. They should also be locked behind bars. They should be locked behind bars. They should do time in prison. They should be faced with hard labor. I mean, every single maltreatment that those 5 boys, or 5 men now, every single maltreatment that they went through in the hands of the US law, I feel like everybody who wrongfully accused those boys of the law should also face the law. And also, watching that movie, I realized how powerful the US media is. Honestly, I know that, in a country, the media is supposed to be the watchdog of the society. But then I realized that in the US at that time, when this case happened, the media was only the watchdog for the white people. The media did not regard the black people as anything. I was totally ashamed of the US media. And seriously, guys, I mean, it's a shame to know that racism, racial discrimination still exists in our society today. I mean, it's very, very poignant. It's prevalent. It's all over the place. I have a friend that resides in London, and then I asked him, what's the situation like for you over there? And he went ahead to tell me that from time to time, he still gets harassed by the police for his documents, for his papers. And I'm like, why? He said, well, that they just feel like it's a normal thing for them to do. And I'm like, this is an individual that has spent the most part of his life, I mean over 20 years, living in London. This is someone that has a very, very good reputation. He has clean records, and from time to time he always has to move around with his papers, with his documents, with his identification card. I don't understand. I mean, people are supposed to breathe freely, live freely, and be able to just have that liberty to just exist. So why are these societies in the Western world, why are they still holding on to a very archaic ideology that the black man, the colored man, is an animal, that the colored man should not exist? In the movie, you see how Elizabeth Letterman refers to those 5 boys as animals. That shows that whatever motivated her, whatever her motivation was on that case, was racial discrimination. And I am strongly advocating that the world at large should call her to justice. The world at large should ensure that she faces the law as well. She should be locked behind bars because her case was baseless. Her case was without form. Her case was without validation. Her case was wrongly executed. Her case was unprofessionally done. So she should also face the law. Whatever ill treatment or maltreatment or torture that those boys went through, I feel like Elizabeth Letterman should also go through the same process. So guys, if you haven't seen the movie When They See Us, I would totally recommend that you go ahead, run onto Netflix and watch the movie because it's a must watch. And one of the things I learned from the movie is know your rights. Know your rights. Wherever country you are from, know your rights. You need to know your right, because I believe that if those young boys were able to understand their rights, if they knew their rights, probably some of the things that happened wouldn't have happened. But I can't even say what happened because I wasn't there. But guys, this movie is a must watch. Everybody needs to see this movie. And then if this movie doesn't touch your conscience, then I wonder what would touch your conscience. And that will be all for today's episode of Frankly Speaking with Glory. There's so much I want to say about this movie, but because of time, I would leave the rest for your own judgment when you watch the movie. Still on the subscription issue, guys, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly do so by clicking on the red subscribe button, and also give this video a huge thumbs up, like my video, and kindly share my video to your circle. And that will be all for today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.